Hi, it's Dominic. If you're into AI agents, AI influencers, and the latest in the AI world, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. In today's video, I show you how you can build an AI agent that answers all your customers' questions about your products or services and also books Zoom calls with them whenever they show interest in a certain product or service that you define. I'll also show you how to deploy the agent to your website. So basically, we create a personal assistant that works for you 24/7 and is a real help for your business. First, I'll show you the general concept of the agent so that you understand how the agent interacts with all the tools and platforms involved. And after that, I will show you exactly how I built that agent on Relevance AI, a powerful no-code platform. If you have no experience at all yet with AI agents and Relevance AI, I recommend you to watch my first Relevance AI tutorial as well, because there I did not only talk about the basics of Relevance AI, but also about AI agents in general. Exactly as I already did it with my first AI agent tutorial here on YouTube, I will again include all the slides, prompts, and tools you see in that video in my free AI course. You find the link to the course in my YouTube description. Make sure to check it out as well. There's a lot of useful stuff in it. Alright, that's it regarding the introduction. Let's jump to my screen and build an agent. Good, as you can see, I prepared a little presentation to show you how the agent is actually structured, what's happening in the background, and a little bit of theory so that you better can follow the tutorial. And afterwards, we go over to Relevance AI, and I will show you step by step what you need to do to build that personal assistant for your own business. Good, let's begin. And first of all, I want to show you how this looks in real action whenever you come, for example, to my website. We have here the starting screen of my website, the hero section, and then you see that little chat bubble down here. And whenever a user or a customer clicks on that chat bubble, there's this chat window opening with a little description that informs the user what the agent can actually do, answers all your questions, and helps you book a Zoom call with me if you're interested in getting an AI agent for your business. So the main goal of that agent is to schedule Zoom calls for potential B2B clients, but as I also offer AI courses, which was until now my main business, the agent is also answering questions about all my video courses. Down here, you find two little buttons. I need an AI agent for my business. So whenever someone clicks on it, the agent understands right away that the person wants to schedule a Zoom call and starts that process. And then there's another button, which AI courses are you offering? So this is another conversation starter for the people who are actually interested in my AI courses. But you can type whatever message you want down here, and then the agent will understand, okay, is it about the AI courses or is it about the AI agent services? And this is basically everything the customer sees when coming to my website and engaging with my agent. And in the background, there is the Relevance AI agent that I set up that is doing all the work. So we have the chat interface that you just saw. We have a passive agent operating autonomously in the background. Passive means it does everything on its own and I don't have to step in, and the agent can answer the questions of my customers, and it can obviously book Zoom calls with B2B clients. Good. When we then zoom in a little bit more, we see the big picture, the blueprint of the AI agent. And I want to show you that before we go into actually building it, that you better understand what we are about to do and how everything connects and interacts together. We have the chat window here on the left side. This is what you already saw on the slide before. And the chat window is the interface with our customer. Here, the information exchange happens between the customer and the Relevance AI agent, as you can see here. And the agent then itself has access to three different tools: retrieve answers from AI courses knowledge set, retrieve answers from B2B and agent knowledge set, and finding out customer time zone and sending data to Zapier. So these two tools allow the agent to know the specifics of all my AI courses and also of my B2B services. And whenever someone asks a question that is related to AI courses or related to B2B services, the agent knows exactly which knowledge base it should search, and it finds the answer exactly within that knowledge set. Then the third tool is finding out the customer time zone and sending the data to Zapier. And this is the most complex step in that agent, but it's totally doable as you will see in a minute. As I offer my services globally, it's very important to always know, okay, about what time zone is the customer actually talking about. And that's why I included a tool that allows the agent to find out which time zone the customer is in. And then I used another automation platform, Zapier, where I send all my customer data. And then I run this automation flow to set up the Zoom call, get back the Zoom link, put that Zoom meeting into my Google Calendar, and then also send that Zoom link to my customer via email. I will tell you later a little bit more about Zapier and why I used it in that example of that agent, but I can already tell you Zapier is perfect for straightforward automation. So whenever you have a sequence of steps that need to be executed one after each other, every time the same way, Zapier is just perfect. And Zapier has a lot of integrations already available to all the different tools and platforms on the internet. So this is very powerful and makes it very easy to connect your agent to whatever platform or service you want to use. Good, that's the overall structure of our agent. And now I just want to give you a little bit more of knowledge about Relevance AI. It's just one slide, but it's important. And that is how you can set up a knowledge set. As you just saw, the agent has access to different knowledge sets. And this is basically just a table that contains questions and answers. For example, which AI courses are you offering? And then the answer: I offer 4 courses about whatever topic. And you can super easily set up such a table at Relevance AI by just uploading a table as you see it down here, with question in one column, answer in one column, and then in all the rows we have a question answer pair. This is just one important thing, and this is why I included that slide. Make sure to export that table in the UTF-8 encoded, comma separated CSV file, because if you don't do that, Relevance AI can't suck out that data and you will get an error. I struggled with that quite a while, and that's why I wanted to include it in that tutorial. So that's it regarding the theory. Now we head over to my website and we just test out the agent, and afterwards we build it. Good, here we are at my website, GermanAICreator.com, and this is the website I use at that moment to offer all my AI courses and also my B2B AI agent services. Keep in mind that at the point where you watch this video, I might already have a separate website for both of these businesses, but for now, this is all on one website. And when a customer comes to the website, there's this little chat bubble popping up, and whenever you click on it, the agent interface is opening. And then you can ask it whatever you want, or you can use these conversation starters to book a call right away, or to ask which AI courses are actually available. And we can just test it out by asking it something. For example, which courses do you offer? I send it out, and now the agent will understand that it is obviously about my AI courses, and it will search in the knowledge set and then will hopefully provide the right answer, which AI courses I'm offering. Yes, it worked. We have it. I offer the following AI courses: realistic AI images with stable diffusion and focus, creating an AI influencer, and so on and so on. I have 4 at the moment, and yeah, then we could just keep asking about the courses, how much they are, what else is included, and so on. But we can also go into the direction of AI agents, and this is what we do now. I just follow up with, what is an AI agent? Can you build one for my business? Then we send this out. And now, hopefully, if the agent does everything correct, it will understand that the topic is now switching to AI agents and B2B services, and it will search in a completely different knowledge set. And this also worked very, very good. We have the answer. An AI agent consists of 5 main components. Then we have all the main components and a little explanation about AI agents. If you want to understand this in every little detail, make sure to watch my first Relevance AI tutorial. There I talked a lot about AI agents in general. And afterwards, it also suggests here, yes, I can build a custom AI agent for your business. The first step is an initial call where we will discuss your specific use case, your expectations, and so on and so on. So the customer gets already a little bit prepared for what will happen. And then it is asking, would you like to schedule a Zoom meeting to discuss this further? If so, I can help set this up for you. And we can just answer yes and confirm that. And then the agent will go on with the Zoom call booking process. Good, great. To schedule a Zoom meeting, I need the following information from you: name required, email required, message on how I can help you also required. Additionally, I recommend providing your company website URL and a phone number, but these are optional. Once I have this information, we can proceed to set up the meeting. I prepared a little test client. My name is Danny Dollar, leverageprince@gmail.com, and then a random phone number. I want to have an AI agent that helps me in the customer support. We send it out, and now the agent will take in that information, and then it will ask us to also suggest when we want to have the Zoom meeting. Could you please suggest a day and time for the Zoom meeting? Please provide it in the following format to ensure we can plan the meeting properly. Monday, April 14th, 9 a.m., Berlin. We also need your location to set up the correct time zone for the meeting. This step might take a few seconds longer to complete. Why did I provide that information to the customer? Of course, I want the customer to know that if a process takes a little bit longer, to wait and to stick around and not leave the website. So this is important. And now I can just suggest anything. For example, let's do Friday 18th at 7 p.m. Berlin. We send this out, and now the agent will take this timestamp, figure out, okay, Berlin, which time zone is that? And then it will set up a Zoom meeting in the background in my Zoom account, put it in my calendar, and send out a confirmation email with the Zoom link to the customer, so that the customer just has to enter the meeting at the scheduled day and time, and that's it. Good, we got a confirmation. Thank you, Danny. Your Zoom meeting is scheduled for Friday, April 18th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Berlin time. You will receive an email confirmation containing the Zoom link. If you hear nothing else from us, the meeting is confirmed for the suggested day and time. If you have any further questions or need assistance, feel free to reach out. Looking forward to our discussion. And that's it. Then we can keep asking the agent about whatever, but basically our Zoom meeting is scheduled. And I will blend in here how this looks in my calendar and also how it looks for the customer when receiving the email. Good, now that you understand what's the general concept of this personal assistant agent and how it actually works in real life on my website, we can go over to Relevance AI, and I will show you step by step how you can build that agent. Good, here we are finally at the starting screen of Relevance AI. As you can see, there's already a lot going on. Here are all the agents I already built. And if you are new to Relevance AI and you just created your account, this screen is obviously completely empty. If you have no idea yet about Relevance AI and you want to understand, okay, what exactly is going on here, what is available here, how does the function work in general, check out the first Relevance AI tutorial I created. There I explain every single aspect of the interface in every detail. Now I will show you step by step how I built the personal assistant on my website. It will be also very detailed, but if you want to understand every little detail of the platform in general, check out that tutorial. Good. As you can see, here are the agents, and we will talk about the German AI creators agent. That's exactly the agent you saw on my website. And as you already see, there are 3 tools available, exactly the 3 tools that I also showed you in the presentation. The tool for retrieving answers from the B2B and AI agent knowledge base, the tool for retrieving answers from the AI courses knowledge base, and then the tool that finds out the customer's time zone and sends the data to Zapier, where we then schedule the Zoom meeting and send out the confirmation email and put the meeting into my Google Calendar. Before we go into the agent and the 3 tools, I show you where you can set up such a knowledge base. Remember in the theory part when I showed you how to upload the table to create such a knowledge base, this is exactly happening here. You just click here on create a table and then you can upload your file. And then in the end, it looks like that. You basically have a table with answers, with questions, and by that you can super easily provide specific knowledge to your agent that it can access to answer your customers' questions. So keep that in mind because we will use it in a second. And when I go back to all the tables I already created, you see I have quite a lot of them. And for the agent on my website, I use exactly that knowledge base about the AI courses and also that one about the agents and my B2B services. Good, that's it regarding the knowledge base. Now we go back to agents and I show you exactly how I built the agent you see on my website. So first of all, we click on the agent itself. Then we come to such an interface where we could basically just chat with the agent to test it out. Here on the left side, we see all the logs it already did. And when we go to edit agent, we see the inside of the agent. Here we can upload a logo, we can give it a name and this little description, which is showing up in the chat window whenever someone uses the agent. And then there's the most important part of the agent, the core instructions. Now, when we click on that, you see that this is a big text prompt. And this text prompt is basically defining how the agent will behave, what tasks it will execute, and which tools it has available, as you see it here in that prompt. And the special part about that is that it is just a plain text description without coding, without nothing, and you can reference the tools that the agent should use for specific tasks also via text, and the agent will understand then when to use these tasks and for what to use them. I won't go through the prompt in every detail. If you want to download it, just get my free AI course. There it will be available for download and you can just download it. But basically it starts with the role. You are a world-class customer service agent of a company called Limitless AI Solutions LLC. This is my company. And then the agent understands, okay, this is basically my role. Then I sum up all the tasks that the agent should execute one after each other. And here it is important to keep the actual order in mind in which the customer will interact with the agent. So first, I told it that based on the questions that the customers are asking you, you decide if you retrieve answers from the AI courses knowledge set or from the AI agent and B2B knowledge set. And for each, I provided a tool, as you will see in a second. If you want to reference such a tool here within the prompt, you just type a slash. And when you do that, you see you have the opportunity to select tools. And then you can select all the tools that you already created, for example, that one. And then the tool gets referenced within that core instruction and you could use it. So for now, I will delete that because I don't need it. But this is exactly how I entered these tools here within the core instruction. So in these tasks, I basically tell it that whenever someone asks about the courses, you use the knowledge set about AI courses. Whenever someone asks about B2B services and AI agents, you use the other tool that allows you to retrieve answers from that knowledge set. And then there's an important part. Only use the knowledge you find in the knowledge base. Don't make up information. If you don't find the answer in the knowledge base, suggest the customer to schedule a Zoom meeting. If the customer directly asks about a call or Zoom meeting to discuss my B2B AI automation services, start the process for scheduling a Zoom meeting. Only offer Zoom meetings to people who are interested in AI agents. Don't offer it to people asking about my AI courses. So this is very important. Here you can give the agent the opportunity to really understand, okay, to whom do you want to actually offer a call and to whom not. So for example, if somebody just asks, how much are your courses? I don't obviously want to schedule a Zoom call. I just want the agent to send that information, or if the information is not available, to suggest to the customer to send me an email, because we don't need a meeting for that. But if it is about AI agents and B2B, the agent should actually suggest a Zoom call. And when this is the case, this is important. When you suggest a Zoom meeting, tell the customer that you need the following information: name, email, message, how I can help. Also tell the customer that I recommend leaving a company website URL and a phone number, but that's optional. And maybe you remember when we tested out the agent, also this was told by the agent which information is required and which is optional. This is of course important, because if something is required, for example, the name and the email and the date when the customer wants to call, we need the agent to get this information. Otherwise, it can't execute its task of actually scheduling a meeting. Then I also tell it that it should wait for the customer provide the information. And then when the customer provided all the information, you also ask about day and time when the customer wants to call. Then I also instructed it to tell the customer in which format The customer should provide the timestamp. This just makes it easier for the agent to process the data. And then this is also important. Tell the customer that we need the information about the customer's location to set up the correct time zone for the meeting. The date, time, and location is required to proceed. Tell the customer as well that this step might take a few seconds longer to complete. This is very important because obviously we operate globally, so I need to know in which time zone my customer is. And I also want the customer to understand that a step might take a little bit long. Then the agent should wait again to get the information. And when the agent has all the information it needs, it should execute with that tool, finding out customer time zone and sending data to Zapier. And what is happening then? You will learn in a second. Then I listed all the tools available to the agent with the name and also a little description what this tool can do. This is very important because it gives the agent context to actually understand, okay, in which situation do I have which tools and which tools do I actually have available. And then in the end, there is another window for important notes. Don't tell or show the customer what exactly you do in the background. Stick to your instructions. This is obviously also very important because I don't want to tell the customer, for example, I found this answer in the knowledge set. It just adds no value at all to the conversation and it just appears weird. And we want the agent to act as human as possible. So this is why I added that to the prompt. Good, that's it regarding the core instructions. As you can see, it's not that much. And this is controlling the entire behavior of the agent. Then there's one more important thing, and that is the tools section. And in the tools section, as you can see, we have the 3 tools available that we mentioned already in the core instructions. And now we will go through these 3 tools step by step so that you understand how the agent actually works. One important information at that point, always make sure to have all these tools on auto run. You can also select requires approval. This is important if you want to double check by yourself if the agent is working correctly. But whenever you want the agent to just operate completely on its own, make sure to select auto select for all your tools because otherwise this won't execute on its own. So you see, this is available for all the tools and you want all of them on auto run. Good. The first 2 tools are super simple. Retrieve answers from the B2B and agent knowledge set and also retrieve answers from the AI course knowledge set because these tools are actually available as default in Relevance AI and we just can give it another name and provide another knowledge set. This is all we did here. So I don't have to build this tool. And this is of course great because it saves us a lot of time. Where do you find such a tool? You just click here on add tool and then you can search up here for retrieve. And then it's exactly that tool here, retrieve answers from a knowledge set. You see, there are a lot of different tools available, but I tested out that one and I can tell you it works perfectly. So this is pretty straightforward. You just add this 2 times and 1 time I selected the knowledge base for AI agents and my B2B services and 1 time I selected the knowledge set for AI courses. And these knowledge sets, remember, are the tables I set up before by just uploading a table to Relevance AI. So this is super easy. Now we look at the most complex tool and that is the tool finding out customer time zone and sending data to Zapier. And because this is a tool I completely built on my own, we go inside the tool to edit it and then I can show you what's actually happening inside. And as you see, whenever you click on a tool, you always have use, build, and logs. On use, you could really test it out by just entering data. On build, you see the inside of the tool, what we will use in a second. And if you click on logs, you see the past of that tool and all the data that was already provided by it in the past. And this is very good for troubleshooting or to double check if the agent actually worked correctly. But for now, we go to build and then we see the inside of the tool. And if you look here on the left side, you see all these steps that will happen within the tool. These are called steps and every step is basically a execution step within that tool. We have inputs, we have outputs, and in between we have steps. And the goal in each tool is to take some inputs and then process them in different steps to get a certain output. And the goal of that tool is to take in all the inputs, the user information, As you can see, it's customer location, day and time suggestion of the customer name, customer email, customer phone, company website, and customer message. So these are all the inputs that need to be filled out by our AI agent by getting that information in the chat window and then putting this information inside of that tool. And then we can process it within that tool to get a certain output. And in that case, the output is a JSON file containing all this information and some more information that we create within that tool and send it over to Zapier, where we then schedule the Zoom meeting and send out the confirmation to our customer. Sounds difficult, but you will see in a second, it's actually not. I want to make sure that you really understand what is happening within that tool. And because of that, I will fill it out with some test data. We run it, and then the whole tool is filled with data, and you can better understand how it actually works. Good, I already did that. We selected Berlin as customer location, Monday, April 13th at 8 o'clock. His name is Bernd Bauer. Customer email leverageprints@gmail.com. This is an old email of mine, a random phone number, and then a random company website, and also a little message. I need an agent. And then we run the tool, and then it takes a couple of seconds. As you will see, the whole tool gets executed. And when this is done, the whole tool will be filled with data, and then we will go through it step by step so that you really understand what is happening within the tool. And by that, you will learn a lot how these tools actually work and how you can build them for your own. Good, the tool is done, and as you can see, the output of the tool is exactly that JSON file as I mentioned earlier. We have a JSON file that contains all the information of our customer and some time steps that we created within the tool, as you will see in a second. And this gets sent to Zapier to further process the data and to create the Zoom meeting and so on. And we started with just our user inputs, the customer location, day and time suggested by the customer, the name, customer email, and so on. And then in the first step, as you can see, we used a step called get time zone data of a location. And this is a step that is already available exactly like that on Relevance AI. If we click on it, you see it's a very simple tool, and you can just add that step to your tool by clicking on such a plus icon. Then you have this menu here, and when you type here time zone in that search box, you see there's already a tool available, get time zone data of a location. And this is exactly what I did here. And all this tool needs is the customer location as an input, and then it puts out the time zone of the customer as an output. Very simple. Then when we have our time zone of the customer, we added a so-called LLM step. And an LLM step is just giving you the opportunity to run an LLM like ChatGPT within that tool. And as you can see, you also have to give a role, a task, and so on. And as the goal of that step was to transform the timestamp of the customer call suggestion into a different data format, I went with you are a world-class personal assistant that knows exactly how to convert timestamps into a predefined format. You have lots of experience and you work very precise by solving your tasks step by step. So the goal here is to take the timestamp provided by the customer, for example, Monday at 9, just like that. I always want the time step provided in exactly that format. And to get it all within that format, I have to convert it. And we do that with an LLM, in that case, ChatGPT. And to be able to convert every timestamp the customer tells us into that time format, we also need the time zone. This is why we entered that step. And then we have the day and time suggestion of the customer. It was an input of the tool. We have the time zone of the customer that we got with that tool. And then I tell the LLM, your first task is to find out the correct time zone of a customer by looking at the variable. Exactly that one. This is the time zone of our customer. After you know the time zone of our customer, you look at the variable day and time suggestion of the customer. This was the input to that tool. And you create a new timestamp out of it that matches the original day and time, but with the following formatting. And then I show it how I want the timestamp to look like. Why do I need a formatting like this? Very simple. To be able to later set up a Zoom meeting fully automatically, we need the time exactly in that format, and this is why we need to convert it. Then I give it an example how the output should look like and some notes that we need a correct JSON output. And this is basically how you format that you get a correct JSON output. And keep in mind that an LLM always can just output text. No matter how it looks, it will be always text. And our output looks basically like that. It looks like a JSON format, but it is no JSON format. And that's why we include a step convert to JSON. This is also a default step available in Relevance AI that takes that text and converts it into an actual JSON. Why do we do that? It's just easier to access the data within a JSON. That's why we do it. Good, then we have the timestamp in the correct format and we have it in a JSON file so that we can easily exit it. And as you can see now, it is perfectly converted. It is the 13th of April time at 8 o'clock, and this +2 is the Berlin time zone. So this worked perfectly. And then I included another step, and this is a so-called Python step. And in that step, I want to achieve the following. I want to have that date converted into my time zone or the time zone of my company, which at that point is in Wyoming in the United States. So you see, in the end, we get a timestamp like that, but now with -6, which is the time zone of Wyoming. And I also want the original timestamp and the Wyoming timestamp converted into a different format so that it is better readable and understandable by humans. Because if I put something like that into the call confirmation, it looks very weird and robotic. But if I put something like that into the mail, it's actually understandable by the customer. Sunday, April 13th, 2025 at 8 a.m. So this is super, super easy to understand. So this is what this step will do. And if we expand it, we see there's a little Python script running. ChatGPT did that Python script for me. I actually have no clue about it, but I don't even have to. That's the crazy time we live in. And you can just instruct ChatGPT to create such a Python script for you. And in the end, as an output, you get your 3 variables, exactly the time steps I wanted. And everything gets stored again in such a typical JSON file. If you don't know at all what JSON is and you get a little bit confused, check out my first Relevance AI tutorial. There are also included some theory about the basic IT knowledge you have to understand to be able to build your own AI agent. Then we come already to the last step, and this is actually the most important step. A Python step as well that creates a big JSON and sends it to a Zapier webhook. I will explain in a second what Zapier is and what a webhook is. But first of all you need to know here is that in the end, we create this big file with all the important user information that gets sent over to the other platform, Zapier, where we will set up the Zoom meeting and send out the booking confirmation. And to be able to do that, we also included a little Python script, also made by ChatGPT. And as you can see, in the end, we get a big file like that. And this contains all the information that we need to be able to set up our Zoom meeting and send out a confirmation to the customer. And I already mentioned it, we send this to a so-called webhook URL. And a webhook URL is basically a URL like any other, you know it from websites, but this is a URL that is just listening the entire day if there is new data available. It's like a post box if you want. And when we go over to Zapier in a second, you will fully understand how this works. But this gives us the opportunity to send our data to that post box, to that webhook, and then we can keep working with that data at Zapier. And this is exactly what we do now. So now we are at Zapier, and I already told you that Zapier is basically a automation platform. Others use, for example, make.com, which is also a very popular automation platform. I like to work with Zapier. And as you can see, I already created quite a lot of so-called SAPs. And these SAPs are basically just automation steps that get executed one after each other. And as Zapier is already existing for quite a while, they have tons of integrations to any platform on the internet. And this gives us an easy opportunity to integrate our agent to whatever tool or software we want. And if we check out now the German AI creator Zoom Meeting Setter, this is the automation flow I built, you will understand how this everything connects together. I click here on Edit SAP so that we have the opportunity to look inside what's going on. But the first thing you notice is that everything starts with a webhook by SAP here. And when we click on it, you see this is a so-called catch hook. And as I already told you earlier, this webhook is just listening the entire day if there's new data available. And whenever new data is available, because we send it over from our agent, this webhook gets triggered and it sucks out the data and provides it to our automation flow. When you click here on test and you go to one of the latest records and you click on it, you have the opportunity to see what data actually got sent. I will censor this because this was a real client who used the agent. There's obviously a name, an email provided, we have a message, and then also the 3 time steps that we created in this second last Python step. Maybe you remember it from a minute ago. So we have then the date and time in this nice human readable time format provided by the customer when the customer wants to call. We have the same thing in Wyoming time, also in readable format. And then we have the selected time of our customer in this ugly format, but in Wyoming time. Why that? That's the timestamp I will use to set up the Zoom meeting. And these 2 timestamps are actually what I will send to the customer to confirm the meeting. And this is nice and clean, human readable. And this is a format that is demanded by Zoom to be able to set up the meeting. So here we see then all the data provided. And when we go to the next step, you see how this works. The data is coming in, then it goes to that Zoom step, and then a meeting gets created. I can just select my Zoom account, and then the meeting gets set up completely automatically. And then in the next step, we find exactly that meeting I just set up. And why do we do that? We need the Zoom link that we can send to our customer to be able to join the Zoom meeting at the scheduled day and time. And we can do that with exactly that step. So we click here, find meeting or webinar. We select our Zoom account, and then in the configuration, we can select what we actually want to search for to identify our meeting. And in that case, I just selected the name of our customer because the name of our customer will be also in the topic of that meeting. And with that little trick, I will always identify the correct meeting so that I can extract the Zoom link and then in the next steps send it to our customer. So after that step, we have the Zoom link, and then we go to a Gmail step. And in that step, I can just select my Gmail account. And then when we go to configuration, you see that I can just fill in the data that was sent with the webhook. And then I can set up an entire email using the customer data. And then we built like a template for a customer email. And whenever we send an email, the user data that we actually need to schedule exactly that meeting gets filled in at exactly the right spots. So this is very practical. And in the end, the email gets sent out to our customer. Then there's just one step missing, or actually 2 steps. One is a little formatting step. So we just create another timestamp. We take the timestamp of the date and time the customer selected for the Zoom meeting, and then we just add 60 minutes to create another timestamp. So as an output, we have 2 timestamps, one for start of the meeting, one for end of the meeting. And why do we do that? Very simple, because in the last step, I want to add exactly that meeting to my own Google Calendar. And when we look to the configuration, we see that the tool demands a start time and also an end time. That's why I created another time step 60 minutes after the start of the meeting. And when you look up here in the description, you can also select all the variables provided by the webhook to write a description for that meeting that already includes your customer's data, which makes it so much easier to prepare for the meeting so that you always understand what will actually happen in the meeting, and with whom you will be talking. Good, now we're done with Zapier as well, and now you understand how the agent is actually built using Relevance AI and also Zapier for the automation steps. I want to go back to that slide where we actually started to explain you once again why I actually used Zapier. As you see, at one point we switched to Zapier, and this was this last step you just saw in the tutorial, to set up the Zoom meeting and put it into our calendar and send a confirmation to the customer. And I decided to work here with Zapier. But of course, you could also do that within Relevance AI or Make.com or any other process that appears the most suitable and the easiest to you. For myself, Zapier was the easiest, as I already have quite a lot of experience with Zapier, and I just love that Zapier has all these integrations available for Zoom, Google Calendar, Gmail, and so on, which makes it super easy to integrate it to our AI agent. But keep in mind that also at Relevance AI, there are already some integrations available. And maybe for what you want to achieve, it's even easier to go with another method. But this is the method I selected. And yeah, that's how I did it. And I just want to encourage you as well to always question a design or a system that you get provided by anybody, even my systems. Just make your own thoughts, and maybe you even find a way to make it even better, because nobody is perfect and there are plenty of possibilities to solve a certain problem or task. And at the end of the day, the goal is to find the perfect solution for your particular problem. And the great thing with AI agents and these platforms like Relevance AI is that there is actually not just one solution, there are millions of solutions, and you can easily customize it to the solution that you actually need. So keep that in mind, keep practicing, and yeah, make your own experiences with the platform as well. That's it, we built our AI agent. I know some parts of building an AI agent can be a little bit confusing, especially in the beginning when you're just starting out. You will notice that when you click through all that and try to build the agent for yourself, that you most likely get stuck at one point. But then you just go back to the tutorial or you check out any other source to find out what's actually the problem. You overcome it, you learn, and then you will get it done. That's how you really learn. That's how you actually improve, and it's totally normal. As I already mentioned, I uploaded all the resources, the slides, the prompts, and even the tools you see in that video to my free AI course, so you can just download them and copy what I just did. You also find tons of extra information there, also about some very important IT basics, so you definitely want to check out that free course as well. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and you got a lot of value out of it. If so, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments how you like that agent and what tutorial you would like to see next. I hope we see each other in the next video. Take care and goodbye.